Hi, teacher. Hi, everybody. My name is Mariana Moctezuma González, and today I'm going to talk about how I think life without internet will be like. It is very difficult to imagine this situation, especially in this moment of our lives, a moment where the pandemic started and it seemed like the internet was the only way in which we were going to be able to be connected with the rest of the world and those people we love. And actually, if you think about it, it was. The internet is that important tool that has become vital for us in so many ways that it is kind of difficult to imagine a world and our days without it. You wake up and what is the first thing most of us do before starting our daily routine? Exactly. The first thing we do probably is checking our phones and getting into Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Maybe other people want to catch up on the news. They want to listen to some music. A student or someone who works at the office and is used to work with computers probably will need the internet to send some emails, or maybe you will need to look up on Google something important to do your homework. Finally, at the end of the day, it is probable that you are going to be tired and the only thing you would like to do is rest and watch series on Netflix. But guess what? What do you need to do all that kind of things? Yes, you're right, internet. This kind of simple but daily activities. Can you imagine not being able to do this anymore? I know it is hard. However, what will happen if the internet vanished? Let's really imagine and feel this situation. You wake up one day and suddenly there is no internet anymore. No more Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Google. All those apps that you think at some point of your life was depending on them were gone. So what's next? How will the world change? How will you change? The way how we're involved with news and information has been impressively quick thanks to the internet. Without it, we rely on TV programs and probably we will have to rely on newspaper or on what people say. At this point, we will have to be very objective and not to trust in all the things we hear. Now, working and studying. With no internet, this seems like an impossible task. The internet has a deep effect on our productivity because it makes things easier by making them faster. And this is something true that we need to accept. The commerce, sales, and shopping will change as well. Global commerce will be impressively slow and tedious, and probably a lot of brands will have to redesign their marketing techniques so people can know about them and be aware that they exist. And one of the things that probably you are most worried about, social life. How is it going to work? Well, hanging out with friends will go back to the methods of yesterday. You need to send letters to faraway friends or probably get back to paying higher rates for long distance calls. I know all of this sounds terrible, but what if it's not that bad? Google has saved our lives many times. If it didn't exist, what is the worst thing that could happen? Well, the worst thing that could happen is that you're going to go out of your house, you will go to the library, and for the first time in your life, or maybe in a long time, you're going to read a real book. Your mind is going to work and your imagination is going to fly. You are going to learn how to think, look, and observe without the help of a computer. Do you think that you are going to get bored? Come on, think about your parents or your grandparents. Were they really bored without the internet? Of course not. People were happy. They used to spend time with their families, trying to learn new things, talking to people, living their lives. So don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Now, this is something that maybe we're not used to anymore, which is funny because probably you have hundreds or thousands of friends on Facebook, but you haven't had a real conversation in a long time, a face-to-face conversation with a real person, talking about important things, well, you will have to deal with personal contact. We will have to remember how to connect with people, how to talk. We will learn the power of the words again. A web life with a screen sheet, that web blinds our thoughts. We are blind people that being able to see, we do not really see. And this reminds me to my grandmother. She used to tell me how my grandpa used to be with her when they were young. He used to do the impossible to spend a little bit of time with her, just waiting patiently all the time his heart allowed him. He used to stand outside of my grandma's house until he could see her and talk to her. They lived that kind of love. They lived in those days. I call it a grandparents' love. I want to imagine that this is how love will feel like without internet. Love will be something you could really see, hear, and feel. We would go back to the times where there were no screens, no phones, no computers, a world where real words and real contact can't really exist. We will be people with an amazing power of concentration. We will be empathic to the rest of the people. Also, I cannot stop thinking about the excess of information. This wouldn't exist anymore. We will have to trust in our old friends. The books, those magical things full of knowledge that do not need batteries to work. Books are never going to turn off. Their energy is basically infinite. Probably Google wouldn't exist anymore, but we will count on ourselves, on the rest of the people. We will stop being so dependent. Imagine that you have a 100 pesos bill. You could spend it in a record, a DVD player, and start watching movies with your family, just like it used to be before. Think about this. Will life without internet will be really so terrible? I think that answer it's up to you. Thank you so much for your attention.